here we are, time to model this thing. So it would be quite a lot of challenges because we have different, how would I say that, different elements that will require a more advanced way to do them and not what we saw until now, as well as these things which have an orientation, and it can seem like super stupid, but I will show you a way to do them without having to make them straight. And yeah, it should be pretty interesting in this one. We will also use some booleans, as you can see here, for the small openings, and you know it for the buttons here. You can expect a circular array and boolean, as we already did. So let's start with that, and let's see how it goes. So one of the first things we probably want to do here is actually to create a collection for the headband and one collection for these guys. So let's do that. We can create them there, and you can see that since my collection was selected, the creation is created just there. So let's write headband, oops, and let's do another one, not there, here, called pods. And now we can kind of work individually both of them, because yeah, they're not completely connected, so it will anyway be two different approaches and two different or more elements and objects. So in this case, I will just lay down the first geometry for the headband, and then start to do the same for the pods, but go a bit further. Then we will create this this fabric part in the headband, and then kind of blend everything together and make a different separation of materials. And we will end with small details as the crown here and the small openings here and there for the microphone. We also have a button on the other side, so this will be done as well later on. For now, let's just create the base of the headband, and for this I would like to introduce a new concept here, which is the curves. So the reason why I want to do that is that if I add a cylinder here that will have the round section that we are searching for, and try to make it follow the shape here, it would be kind of a problem, because I would have to deal with orientation of each section of the cylinder. And this, if I'm not completely right in the angle, then you could get some difference of thickness, and then the whole thing could look a bit crooked. So what we want to do here is do Shift A, go into curves, and here you have a number of different curves style. So I like to go with path, because the two other ones are, I don't know, can be a bit weird, and path is just like points that you can move around. This is way too big, but again, we don't want to scale it in object mode, so we go to edit mode, scale it down. And since it will be mirrored, we can remove those two control points. Front view again. And now we can start putting the curve in the middle of this. So basically, the cool thing with curves is that on top of being simple to control, you can go here in your property panel, you can go in the object data, and you go down there, you have the depth. And the depth basically lets you create a tube out of your curve. But you can still move the curve, and it will move the tube, it will correspond all the time. So we want to do that, and we will actually take care of the resolution, so how many points it actually creates. So to see that, you can go in the wireframe mode, that you can also toggle with Z, by the way, to just go faster. And so we can see here that basically this band will have to blend in this one, and for that we don't want too many points to merge together. So for example, here we have a bit too much. We have 12 points in the section, and we want to go lower. We want to go like this, so that we just have 8 of them, and you know that 8 is kind of a good number to have control. And since we will add some subdivision surface to this, we don't really care if it's not completely smooth. So we can also reduce the resolution here, but not too much, just a bit. And so here we want our shape to correspond to the image, but one thing you have to take care of is that since we are doing a symmetry, the curve shouldn't have any break. So if you don't keep perfect alignment between those 2 points, then you can see that we have a break, and this is not good. So let's just do a Control Z, and we just move it on this axis. Then it's easier to do. And we probably want to add another point actually, to have a better control here. And also you can see that it will blend, so we probably want another one for the other view. But actually you can see that the curve here, the tube, it looks kind of weird, and this is because of a parameter that you can find in active spline. And then you have all of these settings that basically you can say how far goes the influence of each point. And in this case we want each point to have quite a big of influence, so that it's really smooth. And so if we go in side view and display the side view in the references, then we can already start to go there. But here we just want the width. We don't really care about the top part here. We just want to see how it behaves from side view, and we can see here that we probably need one more point. Let's go back in front view. Let's move that a bit, and this goes there. And this doesn't look really bad. Let's hide the references for a while. And you can actually add modifiers to your NURB path. So let's do mirror in X, but also in Y, so that we actually have the two sides of the band, which is actually super convenient. Let's go back there, and we can probably make them fit a bit better. Let's go in our spline tool and add a bit more influence to every point. Okay, not so bad. Also, let's go there and add some subdivision, so that we have the smooth thing that we will have in the end. Here I don't really necessarily want to go super high. Maybe 1 is enough, at least for now, and we will see how it evolves. But I think for now this is not so bad. We are a bit too small now that we put the subdivision, but this is super easy to fix. We just go in depth and make it slightly bigger. We will have to do it by hand. 5, probably 32 then. Okay, looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Now we will just create this small part. So to do that, let's just duplicate this. Let's put it a bit lower. Let's remove all of these points that we don't need. And let's remove the modifiers that we don't need, such as the mirror. And here, I will just show you one thing that I use quite a lot, and it's the snapping. So basically here, there is a menu called snap, and you can activate or deactivate snapping, which, as you can see, we have like super small steps. And this is because of the snapping. Basically, it snaps with increments, and you can do absolute grip snap, which basically helps you snap to the grid. But we can also put vertex, and then if I come close to the point, it will snap to it. You don't have to necessarily enable it there. You can just disable it, move as you want, and when you want snap and you are moving, you just add control, and as you can see, it snaps. So front view now, we push that here, bring this point somewhere there, and we want it to be a bit longer. It's not smooth, but you know why, and we're going to increment that. And it's not big enough, but you also know why. Huh, not so bad. Okay, cool. So we will actually need a mirror, but yeah, just in this direction. Cool. Let's disable the overlays. Wow, look at that. Looks like we could already listen to some music with it. Just one thing I saw there is that we need a bit more definition in the way those points are interacting together. We have kind of a proper angle there. Front view. Okay, cool. So for me, this is not enough, but it's good enough at least for a beginning for the headband, because we have basically the proportions that are right, and it's good enough to see the overall thing. So let's just focus a bit on the pots now. First thing first, we save. Control S. And now let's talk about those guys. So as I told you, this will be a bit tricky, or at least interesting. So let's do Shift A. This time we will go from a mesh cube, sorry, way too big, but we want to scale it not in object mode, we want to scale it in edit mode. And basically this will be our pod. So we can see that it's symmetry in both axes, so we can just do 1/4 of the pod and it will just be mirrored in this direction and this direction. So it means that we can cut the cube here and here. And now you can, let's activate X-ray. Now you can delete all of these points and all of these. Let's add directly the modifier mirror Z and Y, sorry. And as I told you, when we discovered the mirror, this is dependent on the properties of your object and not of the world, which means that if we rotate, the mirror will still follow. And you remember when I told you that we don't want to scale or rotate directly in object mode most of the time? This is because the rotation can be a super precious value. Like if you rotate here, and we go in item, not in view, if you rotate, you can see that I have my rotation angle here, and this means that I can revert it at any time. So here, if I try to match with the rotation of the thing, we can say that I'm around 28 degrees. And anytime I would like to change the rotation of that, I don't have to try to find the good orientation. I just have to do Alt R, which will cancel every rotation, or just to put 0 here. And so we know that around 28 we have the good orientation. So let's just take that and let's bring it somewhere there. But now the problem that we are facing is that our orientation here is not following our lines, and we would like that. So let's just take these, for example, and let's just create one more orientation. This menu here is all the orientations you can have. So quickly, local will be your object, which is actually something that we would like to use as well, because this takes into account the rotation of the object. It's exactly what we want. But I want to show you the way of creating an orientation. Normal is not the same, but it's kind of like if you have a face or just 3 points, it will actually show you the perpendicular to this theoretical plane that is created and two other directions. Then you have gimbal, which I couldn't really explain, view, which is quite simple, and cursor, which depends on this little thing that we didn't talk about yet, but it's not as necessary as it used to be, though I use it a lot. I will show you later on why. But so to create our orientation, let's select a face and let's press plus, and basically it will take our face and get the perpendicular axis and then the two axes that are defining the rest of the face. So this is exactly what we need, because then we can just push things up and down, and as well as move points there, and this without actually having to kind of follow the lines and everything. This is exactly as if we were working on the cube, like with completely horizontal and vertical positions, completely aligned. But this time we can do that even if we are rotated, which is perfect. So we want to take this face and we want to push it a bit more. The overall thing is not well placed. Now it is. And you want to take that a bit further and this a bit lower. Actually no, because it goes into the cushion, so let's rather take an edge loop and let's start creating this profile. So basically we know that this box is on the edge of this shape. Oh, actually we have to place the thing a bit better. Yes. So it's on the edge of the thing, but we don't really want to lose this edge. And the best way to do that is to add an edge loop that will basically pull the surfaces around there. So when we will change this and give more shape there, this one will ensure that we don't go too far. Let's add another edge loop so that we can have a good control on this curvature. Actually, we want some acceleration, so let's bring it there. And let's put a subdivision surface so that we start to see our nice shade. We just add some shade smooth. Perfect. And now we can start playing with the shape. We don't see enough because of the gray tint, but what I want to do here is actually to use the matte cap, as well as changing the opacity of the image. In this case, since the matte cap is quite contrasted, I can go higher, but in the other situation, I needed to go actually lower. So we don't want those to be aligned completely because the subdivision will already give us some shape, and so we want to emphasize that by slightly pushing it in, and maybe this one slightly out. This doesn't have to be restricted to just one rotation, it can go where it wants. And then for these, let's just remove those things because we don't need them anyway. So let's push those points in. Here as well, we need to do Control B so that we can take those inside and keep some control in this edge. Also in this direction, we want to push everybody in a bit, and probably a bit more. From this view, go inward quite a lot. I forgot to put the clipping on the mirror, which is quite important in this case, for example. I want to go inside view and start to use it as a reference. You can see that we have way more curvature, so we'll just try to mimic that. Let's add some more subdivision. Okay, not so bad, but way too boxy yet for now, so let's continue to shape things around. It's a lot about just checking the model, rotating around and figuring out what looks okay and what doesn't. And you have to go back and forth quite a lot with your images or references. We want to get this kind of nice shape. Also, it's good to check this kind of views so that you can see the thickness and if it makes sense or not. In this case, the references are a bit too present, so I just calm them down. Probably want to take this a bit out. When you press double G and then Alt, you can extrapolate the position. Okay, not so bad, but this edge looks way too vertical, so let's just push down. This is really tricky, this kind of products, because it's super simple shapes, but with super nice reflections, and so you don't want to mess with anything there. Let's check the side view again. Yeah, the whole thing looks way more around. But I think they have a different orientation than us. because we know how wide it's supposed to be. Okay, we're not so far, I think. Cool. So now let's just create these cushions. The way to do it, to me, is quite simple. We can actually just take this set of faces, Shift D, bringing it there, and then we can extrude that. Thanks to the clipping, we don't have to care about the the extremities, the borders. You can just do that, but this works in just one axis, so you have to do it here as well. Same for this. And here we want to extrude, extrude, extrude again, and then take everything in. You shouldn't be scared of having something that looks completely messy, because it's quite easy to just go from something really dirty to something super clean in Blender. It's just a matter of if you know what you're doing or not, and this comes with practice, but really never be scared of like, it does look super weird, because this is the normal modeling process, let's say. At least the one I feel comfortable in. There's a big proportion problem here. Okay, let's change matte cap because this one is weird. It's better in this one. Let's hide the, oops, let's hide the ref. Okay, there is still a lot of things to change, but I would like to be able to see the other pod, and for that I will need to add another mirror. But as you can expect, it will not do what I want. So this is because I need an object to tell my mirror that I want to mirror from this point. So I just add an empty, and let's make things in the right way this time. Let's call it mirror. I don't precise if it's mirror for X or Y or Z, because anyway it can be any of the direction. It's just mirror from the center of the world. And so this one will go in the usually I do another collection that I called empties. Perfect. And this one I can hide as well. This time I search for, oops, just hide, and this time I search for mirror. Okay, now I can have a better appreciation of what I'm doing. Also, I can check with the zebra, which looks pretty nice. Yeah, I think we're not so far. So usually what you want is to avoid this kind of weird weird point dispositions. You want to have something that looks logical and that flows nicely. So let's just move things around so that it looks, yeah, more logical. Here it's good, here it's nice. Okay, cool. This is I think a good start. We can already see the main shapes, and it looks like it's quite close to what we have on the references. Let's just check in front view if we could come closer to the image, maybe adding some more depth there. This one is not logical, so let's fix that. It's not a problem if you have intersections, because in the renders you will not see it, and it actually shows some more. Sometimes you can hide it kind of, and it makes the part look like they are really together, which is a good point. So here we just extrude the cushion a bit, so that there is a start of a curvature there, and this will help us for the renders. But as you can see here, it's intersecting but not down there, so let's just take those 4 points and let go inside a bit, so that it's completely closed. Yeah, nicer. So inside won't be a big challenge, as you can see in the pictures. It's just a super simple cushion, so we'll probably do that later on. For now I would like to get this strap there and start thinking about what we do here. Yeah, this guy would be quite interesting to do, but I guess you could already do it by your own. The method is exactly the same as what we did earlier. So yeah, let's just work a bit more on the headband, and let's start to join the two together. So before we connect things, I would just like to take a step back on the band and try to see like what could be improved to match better what we have as references. And it looks like on the side view, the bands are, or at least the two stripe there, are a bit wider than what we have in terms of proportions. So let's just make them a bit wider, and also we can see that the connection here grows a bit before going in the big one. So this will be quite interesting to do. We'll do that together. And also, just by checking these images again, I can see some problems on the pods, but again, we have like most of the geometry here already, so it will just be moving points to match the proportions. But the topology is not too far off, which is, again, to me, the most important. So we said that we just want to increase those one a slight bit, maybe like, oops, this is way too small, but maybe just like 3 or 4. Yeah, probably something like that is better. Yeah. And from front view, I guess we are not actually far off. It's just let's use the other orientation. It's just yeah, there is too much black, so we cannot actually see the proper thickness of the thing. It's all right. I think we're not far. You can actually see from there that it starts to grow and then blends into the bigger one. So we will have to do that. For now, we want it kind of in the middle, like there. Perfect. Okay. And so the tricky bit here is that we will have to blend it with the bigger one. And so we will have to do two things. First is convert these objects, like these curves, into actual mesh, and then figure out how to make everyone happy with the same mirror modifier, and not just this one not being mirrored, or being mirrored just in this direction, and these ones being mirrored in both directions. So let's remove completely the mirror of the table. Let's remove the subdivision as well, and let's use the convert utility. So press spacebar and type in convert, and you can see that we can convert this to quite a lot of things. And there is object convert to mesh, and this is the one we want. So basically you have to make sure that you have no modifiers or anything, because what you see here in wireframe will be exactly what we will get as a mesh. And actually, by saying that, I can see that we probably want less definition here, because it will be easier to manage the topology to blend it in. Same for this one, but we will see afterwards. So this guy, we just do convert and convert to mesh. Yep. And so here you have all the points, and you have your actual geometry. So if we go back to the shaded mode and add the subdivision, we go back to what we used to have with the curve, but this time we can edit it as a mesh. So let's do the same for this one. We remove the subdivision, we remove the mirror, and we can see that there is way too much of resolution there. We need just a bit more to make the blend in a good way. And I think this is, yeah, this is pretty good. And again, the good thing of having 8 division in this direction is that then we can easily remove half of it and do the mirror without any trouble. So let's convert this one, and let's remove directly all of these points so that we just have half of it. Perfect. And so now what we want to do is to work this one and this one together. And there is a way to do that. It's the opposite of the separate that we saw previously, and it's called join. So basically you select the two objects and you do Control J. And this will merge the two objects together. So now if we check, it's just one object that we can change. And let me just correct something here in the outliner, is that this is supposed to be the headband. Oh, excuse me, headband. How we could call that support, because the other one will be the headband cushion, and the pods, let's call them pods for now. They will change when we will get the cushions out of there to edit it separately. So this, which we know that we need a mirror in 2 directions and that it has to be P for a subdivision. Great. So now we have this, which we can fully edit, and we can start merging things together. So to do so, we want to check in the front view, because as you remember, we saw that this was starting to taper. So let's select all of these and start to grow them with Alt S. Or just S if we have just one edge selected. Okay, makes sense. A bit more here. This will do the transition. Okay, quite good. And now, to blend it the best way we can, we will try to match this point with this one, and they will become just one, basically. So actually we can move it individually, because those points will blend like this. We'll go there and there. We just have to prepare how it arrives. Okay, quite alright. So we delete this point, because this one will become just one. Let's press M, center. Now it's time to merge things. What I like to do in this case is to add an edge loop just before, so that we save whatever will happen later, and we can start to play, and if ever we are wrong somewhere, we can just take this one and slide it to match the position of this edge loop, so that we are not destructing anything. We can always go back. So let's just merge at last this time, this one as well, and let's do that here. Let's do that there. Wow, look at that. So what we want to do here is to ensure that these points are actually matching in a nice way. So let's just enable clipping, and let's push things to the limit in between. Up one direction, the other direction. And now we can just start to play with these positions, so that it looks like they are like symmetrizing, or at least preparing for the other direction, so that when the smooth is applied, it looks way nicer. Here we don't want to have two edges super close if we don't want to actually show any crease. So let's just slide these a bit more inward. So that we have a more uniform mesh. And let's reposition things on this side. Okay, quite good. And so this approach of blending things is actually, you can use it for a lot of different things, but you should always keep in mind to have like matching numbers of vertices. Like we know that we know that we add 8 there, we have 8 here, so they probably match pretty good, like this one and this one, this one and this one. Basically you can get nice flow between the faces, and yeah, this will ensure that your transition is well done. Yeah, perfect. This one can slide a bit, this one could go out a bit. You just have to try to make something that makes sense, and then with the subdivision it will be cool. Okay. Okay, great. So now let's just add the part in between. To do that, we will just add a plane. We don't scale it in object mode. We actually cut it in the middle because we want to mirror it. And then we want to bring those closer. If I scale it, I will lose the axis here, so I just bring these, it's fine. And anyway, I will have the clipping then, so I could move everything as I want. So let's bring it here. And actually we can slide it in the middle because yeah, I didn't think about that, but we can do that. So let's go with our snapping to increment and absolute grid snap. And let's just go with control to the center. Let's remove half of it and do Y symmetry as well. Perfect. Let's go in front view, and we just create geometry that we will then smooth out to create the cushion of the headband. So this will be the headband cushion. Yep. Like this. This is pretty easy to do. Subdivision surface, we want some nice shading, smooth. Then we want to actually add some thickness to this guy. Solidify, and we'll probably put B for subdivision so that we have some nice yeah, cushion filling there. We don't want it as thick though. And also we can see on the pictures it's like way softer in the middle, so we just do that. For this, the front view will help us as well. So let's just bring it back. Yep. Yeah, so we have to go way deeper, up to here. Let me just change the transparency here. Like that. Like that. Okay. Going quite good. Now we try to get some kind of even thickness there. So you have to play with the way it's intersecting. Also, if we hide the references, you can see that we have kind of a pinchy feeling here. So let's just add another row that we will use to create some kind of nicer curvature there. But it's changing kind of everything in the way we did the transition. So yeah, you just have to move things around. Yep. Probably the solidify is actually too thick. Yeah, we're at 2 millimeters right now. And it looks pretty good. To me, polygonal modeling is a lot about like checking things, looking around, trying something else. So it's always moving and it's kind of always evolving actually. Okay, not so bad. What does it say in front view? Have to go lower, which is not a problem. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I think we have something here. There's still some weird connection there, but it's okay. Cool. So the first thing here was to actually do the connection. So let's do that. This time I will not use a curve to do this one. I will actually use a cylinder so that it's easier to manage this. And I will actually start off a sphere so that I can do that quite easily. Or wait, no, there is a connection there that is a bit weird. It comes out of the kind of sphere. Okay, we will figure this out. And we know that if we take the front view and we put some less transparency, we can see that this should be just a bit flatter. So let's just do that. Cool. And let's take all of these and do Alt S so that we have just, yeah, it's a bit smaller. Okay. Okay, not so bad. Cool. So let's just place a cylinder there. Or did we say a sphere? I'm wondering what is the best way to do it. Probably cylinder actually. Okay, so again, cylinder. We just want 8 division in this case. Sometimes you will need a 32, but I prefer to go with 8 most of the time. Scale it down, down, down. Take it there. Scale it up. Rotate. Take those points. Rotate. Extrude. So this is what I said about the band. Like I didn't want to do this rotate, extrude thing, but here it's okay because it's so small that we will actually not see it. So we go in the modifiers. We probably want to add the mirror first. So mirror, 2 directions. We remove half of it. Up. And we have our nice little connector here. So on top of that we do subdivision, shade smooth. We don't have to go too far in the subdivision here because the object is so small and we have enough divisions yet. I mean divisions already. But now we want to see how things are happening. So let's just extrude that and scale it down. Oh yeah, we have to take care of that. We have to do the clipping. Up. And here we want to add one more division so that the roundness of the end of the tip doesn't like flow into the rest, which could be kind of annoying. Okay, so one thing we have to be careful here is that there is this thing that goes actually into the pod, so we have to move this around, rotate it, and do the same here, because this edge that we have here will actually be our connection, and we will extrude it into the cylinder that comes after to get inside of the pod. Let's just add one more level to have a nicer reflection. And now we have to work on the way on the curvature here. So let's select those that look too small. Alt S, and oops, let's move this. Let's move that. It's a lot of manual work here, and yeah, I cannot do it for you or tell you exactly the I don't know, the precise value of how much you have to scale or how much you have to move. So it's a good exercise, I think, for you to actually figure out how to get the nice shape, or the shape you want at least. Yeah, pretty nice. So then when we will do the details, we will carve out just a bit here, so that the connector actually goes somewhere and not just intersect there. So we will see that later. Okay, not so bad. Let's just disable the references. Yeah, I just want to change the pods quickly, because I think they have to be a bit rounder and probably not that wide. Yeah, this is much nicer. Cool. Okay, perfect. So next step now is the details. So I will start to carve out things from these and see what we get. So detailing now. Just one thing I did is renaming that headband connector, because this is what it is, and also to put it in the right collection. But now we want to do some details, and we will start with this guy, this beautiful guy. And so you already know how we will do it. It will be exactly the same as for the air purifier. But so yeah, let's just try to see how to make that, and it should be fun. So first thing, we will create a collection called details. Wait, where did it create it? This here. Delete it. Bring it there. Details. Actually, I want it in work. Okay, perfect. And also, next thing we will do after that will be to do booleans for different elements. We will see two different types of booleans. First will be the one for symmetrical stuff, so all of these could be just one object, and another one will be the non-symmetrical ones. For example, on this side there is the lightning port, and so on this side there will be the lightning port, and yeah, mainly that, but also the button here, and there's another button on the other side. So the main crone, as it's called, this one. So to do that, we will do with a cylinder. You already know 8 division is perfect. We scale it in edit mode. And actually for now we don't care about the proportions, or at least not about the size at all. So we will just make it super big, and then we will rescale it and integrate it there. So let's just hide the headband and the pod, because we don't care. And let's move that in the details, work, details, and let's call it crone. Perfect. So for this guy here, let's join things together, and let's make an insert so that we can control the curvature. So we'll add some subdivision surface. We could remove this face so that it becomes easier to not have any sharpness. To have maximum sharpness, like just like that. But actually we will need to create a volume if we want our boolean to work, to just carve and not just cut through the surface. So we will just add an edge loop here and connect those so that it's sharp enough to not alter the rest of the shape. And we will add a last edge loop that will help us give the curvature we want for the top here. So let's add some more subdivision. Now let's smooth that out. Okay, perfect. I think this is way too sharp, so this time we probably have to do that and scale it down a bit. Well, not that far, but I think we have to go a bit lower. Probably we need some support here so that we don't create some kind of super soft thing. Yeah, I think it's not so bad like that. Probably good enough. Let's just make it a bit. Yeah, this should be fine. Okay, and now we have to create the intersection object. So let's add a cube, exactly like we did already. Let's call it bool lowercase and crone. Perfect. So we scale it, in edit mode for sure. Even more. Maybe go like this, rescale it like that. Make it a bit bigger. And let's add an empty plane axis. Let's not forget to save from times to times. And let's rotate off 6 degrees because there will be 60 cuts. So we have to duplicate it 60 times, so 6 degree every time. Oops, no, not a bevel. We want an array. We don't want a relative offset, but we want an object offset. This one. Let's call the empty amp crown or rotation. Sorry, I like to call it rotation and then to specify the degree of rotation it has, and we can just throw it in the empties collection. Here we want 60 of them. And look at that already. So the tricky bit now, let's just disable this for now, and let's try to make this thing. So we basically have to make all of this interior curvature, and to do so what we will do is add an edge loop here. Oops. And select this, extrude, and bring this to actually collide with our object. And we will do a bevel here with a lot of divisions. But as you can see, it's kind of tapering in a weird way, and this is because this at the beginning was too straight. So let's make it a bit different. Up, we push this, move that. Let's try it again. Ah, way better. Still some tapering though. Let's try that. Okay, I think this one is good. Let's add some more. And then it will be so small. Yeah, this should be good enough. Let's bring this a bit closer. Oop. And now let's see what it gives us. Yeah, this should be enough. What we have to do first, before we actually see what the boolean gives us, is to do some bevel here. So let's select all of these edges that we want to bevel, and let's round them off. Control B. We just want them to meet but not to intersect. Up. Perfect. So let's try that. Let's remove some division so that it will be easier for the boolean to do its work, and we want bool crown. So again, we have the same problem as we had already, so you know what to do. We go in normals and auto smooth. Let's wait a bit. Perfect. It's actually quite cool. But the only thing that we can see here is that there is like this super facet, like super sharp cuts, and this is because this one is not smoothed out. So let's just do that. So we take it and do shade smooth. Now if we hide it, wow, look at that. Perfection. Let's just see what we get if we add one more level in the subdivision, because we can see some artifacts. Yeah, quite cool. Okay, nice. It will be so small anyway. So, last thing we have to do with this guy is actually to get this middle shape out. I think it's a touchpad or something. So let's disable the boolean so that it's not too much to work for the computer. Let's display that so that we know where we are. And let's create this thing. It's actually really similar to the process we use for the air purifier. We just want a simple bevel this time. What is the distance between those? Okay. Display it like that. This will get smaller. And it will help us for the curvature. And now we can take all of these, do a super small Control B, and extrude that quite a bit. And we can delete the faces. But this is so soft, so let's just select those edges this one and this one, and let's do the small control B with 3 divisions, or at least just one scroll. Okay, doesn't look bad. Now let's just give some more curvature to this thing. Yep. Perfect. And now we can select it with L and separate it. We just remove the boolean from it, and on this one we actually display the boolean. Cool. Actually, we can see that there is some kind of a mismatch because this is way smaller on the actual one. But it's no problem. Let's just disable the boolean and let's select the two objects. Let's also show where we arrive, and in top view we should be able to just select everything. Yep. But deselect the bottom one, and let's just scale it up until we get close enough. Yeah, this looks better. Okay. Yes, so we disable that, show the boolean. Look at that. Great. So now we don't want to have to carry the all the computation linked to the boolean. So what we will do is convert this object to just a simple mesh like we did for the curves, and this will give us just the button without any modifier anymore. Everything will be all the geometry will be existing there. So we search for first we will save because this could crash and you search for convert mesh. This is a way to basically apply all the modifiers, but you could also do it by hand by just doing apply on each modifier but starting from the top one. Since we don't need all of this geometry, we can just go inside view and remove all the bottom part now because we already have this. Quite cool, no? Let's show the rest. So now that I have my crown, I want to place it, but just before that, I want to make sure that this shape actually works with what we want to do, and I think we can still tweak it just a bit. So let's use our global, our specific orientation we created. I think it needs a bit more roundness. Yeah, it's better now. It just triggered me a bit, so I wanted to fix it, but most of the time it's always evolving and you have like to focus on something else and come back to it, and then you will see, this was wrong, I should better do a slightly more inward or something, and this you can change afterwards. So for this one I want to show you kind of a cool tool because we basically want to position this button in a specific orientation, which is basically tangent to or normal to one specific point of the surface here, and there is a way to do it. So we have our crown and we want to position it, so this will be done quite easily. We just scale it down, bring it closer to there, add some rotation. You can do double R to give the other direction the rotation, and we push it outside until we kind of match the position here. You have to keep in mind that the whole pod is completely different on the side view and in the model we have, because we are based on the front view, but in side view we see the cushions and they don't, which just mean that they rotated the pod from the front view. And so we want to go, yeah, a bit inward like this. This is probably a good position for it. Yeah, looks like it's matching quite nicely actually. Perfect. Okay, so now let's talk about the booleans that we want to do. And wait, let me just add some more transparency. Okay, we want to do these. And so first thing we will do here is actually to create this shape and to create an alternative version for this here. But also, as you remember, for the crown, we need to close the volume of the pod so that it's not just a cut in the surface, but it's we will get this small surface going inward. So let's just first thing remove the cushion with P selection, and let's call it pod cushion, and let's hide it, and let's close this. So we're going to do an extrude. I just want to take my orientation. We'll bring it like here, and this a bit like this. We go inward quite a bit actually. Do another extrude so that it doesn't interfere with the rest, and we can just extrude this and make a face out of these. Perfect. Okay, good. Good. Yeah. So let's create the shape for these things. So the first thing we want to do is to probably add a circle. Again, actually this time we will go for 32 divisions, because we will not apply any subsurf to this thing. And so one thing we're going to do here is to duplicate just half of the circle and start to move it there. We will then remove this, connect these, make a face out of all that, and extrude it. And then we can basically scale it down. Okay, and now we can have the distance we want. We can cover quite a nice distance just by doing this. So scale it down in edit mode. We'll try to keep the origin there of the object. We just move this guy around. First thing, let's duplicate it, because we probably want to do that, to use this one to do the other ones, to do the other cuts, kind of cookie cutter. And let's rotate it. And let's place it. Doesn't look so bad. We just have to make sure that we are actually cutting the shape. So here we have to do some funky rotations with double R. Is usually the way I do. Okay. We want to make sure that the whole shape is actually inside of the mesh, but we will have to add some more curvature to it. So let's just do. Oops. So we will have to add some more curvature to our object so that it really follows the shape, and that we can cut as we want it. So let's just join those so that we have just quads in the middle. And let's add some divisions. Perfect. If you go in orthographic view, you can just come here and start to morph the object on the surface of the pod. Okay, not so bad. Yep, quite good. It will be super small. But actually we want to rotate it a bit differently. Like that probably. Scale it down. Move it. Take it out. Okay, this should be fine. So let's go here. And so here, the good thing is that this boolean will be mirrored on the other side. So because the mirror is here, and we will place the boolean just in between. So let's just add it. Let's bring it there. Let's rename this one bool pod sim for symmetry. And so in here, we want to take boolpod sim. So it doesn't want to do the boolean, and this is probably because you can see that there is some weird thing happening, but if you see the boolean, the shader looks like it's a bit different. And if you go here, oops, in the overlays, you have face orientation, and you can see that everything is blue, but this button. So it means that basically the surfaces are pointing inward, and we just see the back face of the surfaces. And this orientation thing has actually quite big importance in 3D. So what we want to do here is to revert that. And a way to do it is to go in edit mode, select everything by pressing A, and doing Shift N, which will basically recalculate the normals. So now if we hide it, and we disable the face orientation, we can see that we have our boolean. We just have to do the auto smooth, and also to smooth our boolean. Okay, quite good. We just have some artifacts, but we will try to fix them later on. Also, you can see that it's happening there as well. And if we take this guy and do a symmetry, mirror, not in X, but in Y, then we will have a cut on both sides. Good. Super cool. Now we want to do the same for those cuts there. So let's display the boolean. Let me just add this auto smooth there as well. I prefer it like that. So yeah, we can take our kind of backup, and let's scale just in this direction. You can see that it's pretty long, and then you have a smaller one. So let's try to do that actually. But this time we probably don't want to have the symmetry on this one, so let's just extract it from there and remove the mirror. Okay, so this guy has a brother, which is way smaller, and this one is longer, and we can scale everyone down. Okay, should be good enough. Bring it there, start rotating around. Not so bad. Now we display the reference, bring it here. So we know where we have to cut. We have to cut from there to... Oh, actually we're in the wrong direction. Let's take all of these. If you want to do some kind of freestyle rotations, I encourage you to go in orthographic mode, so that you can just do some kind of nice rotation, because if you're in perspective, you rarely have the actual angle. What you can see as like, oh yeah, I'm perfectly aligned with the object. Actually, if you switch to orthographic, you can see that you're not at all. So yeah, better go in orthographic to do these kind of rotations in 3D. So let's check again. Still not so far, but still not there. Up. This one comes here and goes out. And we have to join those points as we did earlier. There would be more complicated ways to do it, but I guess the Boolean one is interesting in terms of a quick kind of concept-like approach. I just want to cut things